Wepa. I'm telling you, one day we're gonna figure out how that music could be spicy like that, and then I could just like roll in, dancing and bouncing. But you get the midst of it. Hi, people. Happy Tuesday, my most favorite day of the week. I say it all the time, so I'm sure that you could probably memorize my intro before me. As everybody, as I always say every week, I want to remind folks who are here, if you are watching, that you, whether you know it's someone who is in your life, whether it's a loved one, a friendly member, a friend, or a foe, it takes 2 seconds for you to give them that number from the National Domestic Violence Hotline that's scrolling across the bottom of that screen, 1-800-799-7233. The last time we were physically live in here, we were talking to Alma Arce Rios, who was talking to us about her funeral home, and we were discussing what it's like to be a funeral director and deal with domestic violence. So we thought it was an amazing episode, and we know that a lot of people are like in love. The last time that we should have been on here fue el Día del Amor. So we didn't want anybody to have to sit here, but I appreciate everyone who continued and rewatched the show. Maybe it was folks who didn't see it the first time who decided to come on and were watching. So we replayed the episode last week. So hello again. We're excited to be here, to be live, because we are like 2.5 weeks from the Love Gala. Yes, Dolly, we are excited too. We are only 20 tickets away from our goal, which is so much for us because, man, I tell you, it is a passion project for me and my team. I had an amazing team who helped me this year, and we are super excited to bring you another amazing, amazing Love Gala. We're going to talk more about that later. We're going to tell you where you can get tickets so that you can sell us out. But before we do that, I'm going to bring on our guest. She was on with us a few weeks ago. Hello, Christine. Hello, Dolly and Soko. We were here a few weeks ago with 3 of the women who are receiving our Survivor Awards at this year's gala. As you know, our gala for me is a survivor's ball. We celebrate all of those folks who have gone past the worst moments in their life and they are now surviving, thriving, and doing well for themselves and their families. She was here, she was discussing some of her story, but it's super important for me to let you guys see. I'm going to tell you a little bit really quickly. So a few weeks ago, I received a text message on my Instagram, Love Shouldn't Hurt, and someone said, as an avid follower of yours, I would appreciate if we saw more of the people that you work with. So I want to say this publicly to everyone. Because we deal with domestic violence, it is super, super important for us that when we are dealing with individuals who are currently dealing with a bad situation, a scary situation, a violent situation, we cannot show their faces. If we have relocated them and we are holding fundraisers for them because we've relocated them, we cannot show their faces. So if you do not see them, it is not because we are not apoyándolo, supporting them. And believe me, your donations are not going into the air. They are absolutely going into our folks, but we want to make sure that we keep their identities private. So Jen is someone who has followed Love Shouldn't Hurt. As soon as she found out what we were about, she started to be a part of our movement. We're super proud to highlight her, but she is a product of what it is that we do, having positive individuals who have gone through the worst times in life and are coming out on top. So I'm going to bring on again for the second time, Miss Jennifer Rivera, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her current journey. Come on, Jen. Twinsies!
Yeah.
Look at that. We didn't even know we were going to dress alike.
I know. We were thinking the same thing, but I'm proud to wear this shirt. All right.
Glad.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Ray and I were discussing about a week or so ago. I explained how there's so much to talk about when it comes to this journey of I don't want to say journey of domestic violence, but the path after that, the journey after you've, decided to end it and this is my life now. Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
And as I was just discussing with you, it's not always easy. You see, I had a PFA on my kid's father, but it expired, I think it was last year. Okay. And I decided not to renew it or anything. So the perpetrator, if you want to call him that, he's been back around doing the same thing. And sometimes I wonder if I should go back downtown and do this whole PFA thing all over again, because it's sad. One, You know, I don't want to have to go to court dates. I don't want to have to go to uh, the district in the middle of the night like I used to do. There
Mhm.
were times where, you know, he'd be come and we'd be fighting, and I'm over at the district 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, carrying my kids with me, you know, and it's sad that the only solution I feel like I have at this point would be to move.
Mhm.
And as I explained to you, you know, he threw a rock in my window, maybe about 2 weeks ago, I think it
Mhm.
was. And it's still like reliving a nightmare. I'm like currently fixing things in my house that he destroyed.
Mhm.
Um, I had, I was fortunate enough one time to sign up for a program, and they had fixed some windows in my house that he had destroyed.
Mhm.
So kudos to those people. I don't remember the name of the place,
Mhm.
but you know, it's still like a work in progress. Even though I got out of the situation,
Mhm.
I think 6 years ago now,
Mhm.
I'm still dealing with,
The aftermath.
like, yeah, the aftermath,
Mhm.
you know, and wondering if I should go get a PFA again, and having to fix things in my home that he destroyed. But
Mhm.
that's where I'm at on it right now.
So tell me, so people are probably watching, right? And they're probably thinking, she's being honored as a survivor. Like this is supposed to be behind her. And something that I want to let people know, and something that I need them to realize is that when it comes to domestic violence, it's not as easy as I left and it's all over.
Hmm.
It's not as easy as I left and this is done and my life is amazing and I'm great and I'm perfect and I'm fixed, right? You can leave the situation. I'll use myself as an example. I left my physical abuser almost 16 years ago, right? But even after that, I dealt with manipulation and narcissism and a lot of different forms of abuses in different relationships after. So you have left this relationship 6 years ago and you're still dealing with kind of a little bit of the aftermath. In the last show, you did explain to us that, you know, he's on drugs. He's in the street right now. So I'm sure a lot of that attests to some of his crazy behaviors
Hmm.
and all of the above. But explain to us what the difference now is in who Jennifer is right now than who Jennifer was back then.
The Jennifer right now is stronger. I've come out of this a victor, because I remember we talked about that last
Right,
time. We're not victims, we are victors because
right.
we decided to put a stop to it. Um, I can honestly say that I I'm just I'm better than I was before. I didn't care about myself. I didn't love myself. And everything was just like a struggle. I was depressed.
Mhm.
I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to clean my house. Jennifer now, it's like I'm bubbly, I'm happy, I'm smiling. Um, I'm blessed. I count my
Mhm.
blessings every day. And I actually look at what I went through as a lesson. Um, and people might think that's crazy, but I think there is a lesson to learn in everything in life. There's a
Mhm.
reason why we go through everything in life. Because now
Mhm.
I know red flags to look for in
Yeah,
men, because he was very narcissistic as well.
yeah.
And you know, I care about myself more. I love myself enough to know that I will never put myself through that again. I have
Mhm.
so much more love for myself now than I did then. And
Yes.
it's amazing. And it shows. Like, people always, they'll come up to me and they'll be like, "Oh, Jenny, you're always so happy. You're
Yep.
always like, you know, doing TikToks with your kids, and you're
Mhm.
always glowing," because I took myself mentally out of this place that I was in, accepting that, and that is not okay.
Yeah.
So the Jennifer now knows I will never let anybody take that life from me again, and that's, you know, that's in the past. I've overcome that, and I'm very, very proud of myself.
Well, we're all very proud of you because, see, here's my benefit of this. I don't know that Jenny. I don't know the Jenny that was sad, but I can absolutely resonate with her. I know who she was because the Jenny that you were is the Chrissy that I was back then.
Mm.
And I can resonate with the Jenny that you are now because I'm the Chrissy that I am now. You know, I glow differently. You know, I get through a lot of things, and life's not easy. You know, a lot of different battles hit me constantly, but I'm a lot more resilient, and I continue to persevere past that pain. You know,
Mm.
something was said to me last week that was it hit me kind of hard and made me cry. And I said to a friend that I look at my daughter, and she's all those things. She's resilient. She perseveres past anything. She walks around with such a glow. This kid is the funniest kid. She has the best personality. And I said, I don't even know how she did that with me as her mom. Like, I'm such a mess. Like, I had all of this abuse in my past. I have all this baggage that I carry with me. Now she sees what I do with love shouldn't hurt, but she knows what my mom went through. And my girlfriend said, she's that way because of all of that.
Yeah.
She is who she is because she saw all of that. She's who she is because you, even though you don't feel like you were an example, you were. You
Yeah.
were able to have that different persona and you got past it. So give yourself some credit. And I'm like, I never looked at it that way. I kind
I
of just
know,
felt
because
like,
now you're saying it to me, and I'm just like, I can agree with that. Like, I can see it in my kids too.
yeah, and that's a difference in them, and I think that that's the biggest part of why we are who we are. Like we decided our kids were more important. Our kids were
Absolutely.
what we need to focus on. So no matter what we go through, no matter whatever strikes we go through, we have to keep on pushing because this is what they're watching. And
Right.
and I saw that if you haven't watched the documentary, you can go to our Love Shit and Her page and you can see it. But in the documentary, Jackie says, um, she says that she saw in the window the day that her abuser last hit her. She saw kind of like a silhouette of a child looking out, and she thought to herself, her daughter's watching, and it kind of just changed everything for her. And I feel like that's all of us, whether it's a daughter, a son. We those silhouettes of our children is what we see when we're thinking of it now.
Mhm.
Back then, when I was going through what I was going through, I didn't have my daughter yet. She wasn't born yet, but if you've watched the show or if you've heard me talk at any of our events, I always say that my daughter is my saving grace.
Yeah.
And I say that because she's got me without even, she was only 2 weeks old the first time I feel like she saved me. Well, yeah, the first time. The third time was the last time he ever hit me. But the first and second time, she was still an infant. Like
Mm.
she absolutely had no idea what she was doing to help me. And even at 3 years old, she had no idea what she was doing to help me. But
Mm.
just her existence was able to help me move from that. And when I look back at that, Christina, I'm like, wow, I was such a different person. So I feel like I can attest a lot of my positivity as well to her because just her little voice and her little body and her little being, just being there and saying, Mommy, I see you, kind of made me feel like, okay, I need to get my life together. I need to get my
Right.
shit together. And
Right.
now that she's older and I see the woman that she is, I'm like, wow, my daughter's such an amazing
How old
kid.
now?
She'll be 16 in June.
Oh wow. And I remember her at the last gala. She's so beautiful.
Thank you. That's my girl. But it's something that is just phenomenal for me. So you see yourself still going through what you're going through, and you feel as though the only way for you to relieve yourself from this burden is to move. So is that something that you want to do indefinitely? That's something that you're unsure of? And is this the same steps you would take back then than you are now?
Definitely. I'm set on moving.
Mhm.
Right now, I'm trying to fix up things in the house so it could
Mhm.
be at least in better condition for me to sell it
Mhm.
next year. But I definitely want to move and not leave any traces behind. Um, he's one of the main factors. Like there's two factors. When I first got the house, it was just me, him, and my oldest.
Mhm.
And then we grew into a family of six. So we've kind of outgrown the house.
Mhm.
But the second main factor is him.
Mhm.
Whenever he comes out of jail or whenever he's just roaming around the neighborhood, he's knocking on my door. And he was doing this. So the last show we spoke, I told you that night he came through. It was like every day that week. And I'm not answering the door, and he's texting me from people's phones, like random people in the street.
Yeah.
He's just texting. I'm like, okay, I have to change my phone number and I have to move. So I can just like the thing with me is I feel like I don't identify it with the situation anymore,
Mhm.
but it's just the aftermath, like we're talking about now. So I'm like the only way to just like leave this behind is to move. And it's bittersweet because this is my home. This
Mhm.
is where I created good memories as well with my kids. Like this is the house that they've been growing up in. It's convenient everywhere, but I think they deserve a new home with new memories and love, and I want to give that to them. So I definitely want to get out of here.
So you have a plan, which is a good thing, right? You don't want to
Yes, I have a
sit in
plan.
the same space.
Broker, just have to get some finances together, but I'm gonna make it happen. When I talk to you at the next gala, I'm gonna say, look, Christina, and I'm gonna show you pictures of my new house.
I love that. You'd have to speak it to existence for it to really
Absolutely,
happen. I
absolutely.
think we don't realize how much that really is something that we need to do. Like we spend so much time pointing out the negativity and constantly saying, "Oh, I can't do this," or "I'm not going to do this." We have to speak the positivity to life so that you can no longer feel like you're not at peace and you're not in a safe situation.
Mm,
And the fact that you have a plan is awesome. What I
mm,
want to say to you is this: you're having second thoughts about whether or not you should go back and get the PFA. You're having second thoughts about whether or not you should go back and forth. So you are absolutely right. You're not the same person you were back then. Your strength and your perseverance is a lot stronger than it was back then.
mhm.
But I think that your knowledge as well of it is a lot more broader than it was then. And I think you and I both know that the most safest thing to do, and what I urge you to do, is to please go back and get that PFA.
Mhm.
Please go and protect yourself. Even if you think it's unnecessary, I think it's necessary. I
Yeah.
think it's necessary that you do that because even though you have risen above this, you and your kids have a better life. He's not in the home. The fact that he continues to return back just
Mhm.
bothers me. It worries me. And I don't want you to ever feel like you're unprotected in any form. I don't want, unfortunately, sometimes the police are not as warm as we want them to be. And that's not to
Yeah.
everyone because I have some amazing police officers who are my supporters. But sometimes they've done it for so long that they become a little bit cold to the situation.
Yeah.
And you don't want anyone to feel like, well, it's not that important to you because you didn't go back and get that PFA. You must not feel unsafe if you didn't get it. So I say, you know what? Maybe you do it and nothing ever happens. Great. But I
Mm,
think that you should have something in place just in case. You
yeah.
never know. You have that paper who calls.
I've always had my pros and cons with the PFA. And I think I was telling Ray about this as well.
Mhm.
I remember the first time that I called 911 about 3 or 4 times,
Mhm.
and it took them about 45 minutes to get to me. And
Mhm.
I was so disappointed. I was disappointed. I said, I could have, what if he would have killed me in those 45 minutes, it took for them to come. But in the pro about it was when he did show up and they did come, he was arrested on the spot.
Mhm.
So that's a good thing. But that always worried me, because I'm just like, what if one day they just don't come in time? Thank God that it never got to that point. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I
So,
got some blows to my head before.
so this
So,
is what I'm going to say to you publicly. So everybody
mhm,
holds me to it. This right here, this sign and what you're wearing on your chest, that helps you get what you need a lot quicker. And that's not about boasting, but I have police officers who are in my circle who care.
okay.
So my first line of defense for you is please go back and get the PFA. And I'm saying that so that everyone is listening. My second line of defense is if you ever feel as though you're in that instance, call the police and then call me because I
Okay.
have police officers who I can call and be like, she called, nobody came. Yo, we want to make sure that you're safe. And
Mm,
this is what and I'm not saying this, people, if you're watching to boast, but this is a part of what it is that we do. We build bonds and we form relationships with people that are important just so that we can make sure that people like yourself and victims like yourself, even myself, when I need something, I know that if somebody comes knocking on my door to hurt me, I can pick up my phone and call a police officer and say, hey, yo, your homies didn't come, but I got you on the line. Can you please come and have
mhm,
somebody come here? Because
mhm.
that's important. So because I care about you and because you're a part of this organization and because I want to honor you as a person, please, please, please promise me that you're going to go and get that PFA.
Yes.
I hate the fact knowing that he still has access to you. The
Yeah.
fact that he comes to your home means he still has access to you. And
Mhm.
I know that you're stronger and you're a better person, but you don't want to put yourself in that predicament. You don't want to
No,
fight this man. You don't want to do any of that in front of your kids. You want to make sure that you're protected. So please make sure that you do that. It's important.
yeah, absolutely.
So as we're talking about this and we're talking about your kids, do you have conversations with your kids about what's going on? Are they aware of what's going on?
Yeah, the kids are definitely aware. And they are at a point where they don't want anything to do with their dad, except for the baby because she doesn't know.
Mhm.
And it's sad. My son, my everything. I love my son. He's my only son. I'm trying my best to teach him how to be a gentleman
Mm.
and teach him how important it is to not hit girls. And I tell him everything that I've been through, and he witnessed some of it. I think my oldest got, the worst of it, but
Mhm.
he witnessed my abuse, and not to always bring it up to him, but I
Mhm.
remind him, like, mom and dad went through a lot of stuff, and it's not, you don't hit girls. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to raise my son to not, be abusive in any way. I often have conversations with the kids about why I made the decisions that I made.
Mhm.
And I feel like for the most part, they're understandable. I mean, they're understanding. The baby, again, she's 6. She doesn't quite know what's going on, but the older 3, they know.
Good. I think one of the biggest things that we do when we go out to the schools and we talk to kids that are younger is that we remind them. First of all, I love the fact that you're very open with them.
Hmm.
Oftentimes people ask me, I've been judged, I've been criticized, all of the above, for talking to kids that are younger, for letting my daughter know certain information. I've had people tell me that I'm crazy for doing that, but I think it's important. So I commend you because I think it's important for kids to know young.
Yeah.
You start by letting them know, some kids say, oh, if that boy pulls your hair or that boy pokes you, it's because he likes you. I think
Yeah,
we need to,
that's right. I tell my kids, no, it's not about liking nothing. People
yes,
need to keep their hands to themselves.
right. When they're little, these forms of abuse are disguised as bullying. And the kids don't understand that. So, something
Mhm.
that's big for me, and I'm glad that you said that you have these conversations with your kids, is that you're very open with them, you're honest with them, and that you teach them from the beginning respective touching, what you should and should not do. Even something that I tell my daughter when she jokes with her friends and they like call each other names and stuff. And I'm like, it might be funny to you, and your
Right.
friend that's receiving it might be like, oh, haha, it's funny. But then they might go home and be offended by it or be hurt by it. And
Absolutely.
these forms, when they're younger, turn into something uglier when they're older. And not to say that my daughter is abusive or her friends are abusive. Right now with this culture of these kids, they think everything is funny. But I
Right.
oftentimes also try to remind her, whoever is listening on the outside, it could be a teacher, it could be a family member or a friend, somebody that's walking past and listening. Even though your circle thinks it's funny, the people who are listening on the outside may be offended, someone may be hurt. So we have to start early with our kids. So I think it's super important that you're honest with your kids and
Mhm.
you're letting your son know to treat women respectfully and make sure that they talk respectfully. But teach your daughters too
Mhm.
respectful touching and how people can talk to them and
Yeah.
what they should and should not allow. Because I've heard it so many times when they're like, "Ay, mira la nena, she went to school and this little boy pulled her hair, but I know it's because he likes her." And I'm always like,
I know.
"Stop that! That's not funny. That's not cute. Don't say
Yeah.
that to her."
Absolutely. And it's why does who even made that up? Like, I hear so many people say that, and I tell my kids, no, it's not okay. Like, I've had my daughter, my middle daughter, I had to go to the school a few times for
Mhm,
bullying issues, and it's always boys.
mhm,
It's always
mhm,
little boys. And I'm just like, I don't like that. It's
mhm.
sad because a lot of kids, they go through stuff at home too, and then it shows in the schools, you know?
Absolutely.
So
So we're almost at the halfway point. So before we get to the halfway point and we do what we constantly do, we are having our Love Gala in almost 2.5 weeks. And you are one of our people who are being honored. And I'm so excited for you being one of those people. So what is it most that you're looking forward to?
I'm just looking forward to being in a room with everybody and just networking and having my family there to support me. Well, I have my sister. She's my cousin, but I call her my sister.
Yeah.
My best friend. Just having people there supporting me this year, that means so much to me. And these are people that were actually my positive circle.
Mhm,
So, and I wanted to talk about that too. It's very important
mhm,
to have positive people in your life
mhm,
after you take yourself out of a situation like that, because they do help you move forward, and they remind you of your worth, and they remind you, of everything that you are capable of. And my sister, she's one of them. She's probably watching. I don't know. And I'll probably get emotional talking about it, but
Grace said, I'll be there rooting you on.
yeah. But it's so important to have that people like that. So just to have them there with me, it means a lot to me, that
Absolutely.
that means so much to them to be there for me. So that's probably what I'm most looking forward to.
As your nose is red and your eyes are watery. I'm joking. I'm calling you out because I'm the biggest crybaby. I'm always on here crying. So we're at the halfway point. We're about 4 minutes early, but I'm going to say it since it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. For folks who are joining us today and are wondering what we're talking about this week, we have Jennifer here. She is one of the beautiful three lovely out of the three lovely ladies who will be receiving our Survivor Awards at our third annual Love Gala that's in 2 weeks. Ooh, I can't believe it's so close. So we are discussing her continued journey through domestic violence because as we know, this journey is not one that ends with just walking away. Sometimes it continues to happen even when we step away from it. So this number that's scrolling across the bottom of your screen, 1-800-799-7233 is super important. You could give that to a friend, a family member, and I always say a foe because it takes 2 seconds to pass the number on. We always give out the National Domestic Violence Hotline number now because I don't know where you're calling from, but it takes 2 seconds to dial those numbers and receive your help. So you're saying that you have your support system, correct? And I see that they're on here and they're responding and they're rooting you on already before we even get to the Love Gala. But something that's super important is our mindset, right? So our mindset back then and our mindset now. And there's some people who still struggle with mindset years later. You know, I tell myself that I've had dumb blonde moments. No offense to anybody that's on here is blonde, but I've had dumb blonde moments where, you know, I have left this abuse a really long time ago, but I still have been in contact with very narcissistic men and just dated those types of people. And I've had dumb blonde moments, right? And back then, I was not able to receive any feedback from people.
Mm-hmm.
Have you? I'd have people tell me, hey, he's terrible. You shouldn't be with him. Or, hey, there's something about him that's not right. And I could not deal with that feedback, you know, because I was in that motion. And as you know, with someone who's going through abuse, you can't deal with your mom or your friend or somebody saying that he's a bad person because to you, even though he's abusive to you, you still remember the representative you met at the beginning who you
Mm-hmm.
thought was loving, who was just all of those things, right? Now that you have these people on, I saw somebody who wrote a comment about you getting the PFA, and I know they're friends of yours because when they got on, they spoke about it. And she just said, Jen, now she's at Walmart crying. But now that you have these
Who is?
people,
I can't.
Vania Ruiz says,
Who?
okay, Vania Ruiz.
That's my sister.
She said, okay, Jen, now I'm crying at Walmart.
That's my sister.
So I'm super excited they're here. But what's your mindset now? What's your mindset now when these people give you advice? Because back then, I'm sure it was like, I don't want to hear it. I'm dealing with
Oh,
it. What is
listen,
it? What is it like
I,
now?
I soak it all in. Trust me. And I think that the more you dig deep into yourself, into your mindset, into what your values
Mhm.
and things of that nature, self-love, your discernment comes a little bit more sharply. Like in the
Right.
beginning, like I it felt like I was attracting a lot of narcissistic men,
Hmm.
but I haven't been in a solid relationship since the abuser.
Hmm.
And I think that has a lot to do with just me like having trust issues,
Hmm.
being scared and finding little flaws like red flags in men.
Hmm.
So I've been content, but I take any and all advice. Sometimes, you still don't see things right away,
Hmm.
but I think I'm getting better, Chris. I think I'm getting better, but I take any and all advice. And again, I like to keep those positive people around me that I
Hmm.
know. Can I curse on here? Okay, that I know they're
You
not going
can do whatever you want on here.
that I know they're not gonna bullshit me, and they're gonna tell me the truth. They're not gonna sugarcoat shit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So those are the kind of people that I want to keep. No, Jen, remember when he did this and that? And I have another cousin that's like that. She's probably watching too. I don't know if she's on here, Crystal. But she's another one that she likes to pinpoint, little thing. I'm just saying, watch out. And I'm like, yeah. And then I'll look back on it. I'm like, you were right about that. And
Hmm.
I remember you said this. So it's very, very nice to have people like that actually give a
Crystal's there. She said, "Yep." I think it's important, and I think that as we do these shows, we constantly remind folks different things, right? And one of the things that we always tell them is to make sure that you have your circle of friends that are going to
Yep.
be there. I forgot what me and my girlfriends called it a while ago. I forgot what it was, but it was something to do with like your honest circle. That's not what it was because it was actually a really cute term, but I'm old. I got a brain fart. I don't remember what it was, but pretty much having people around who are going to be totally honest with you 110% and that are going to be supportive and honest with you at all costs because I think that that's what we need. We need people in our circle who are going to constantly tell us
Right.
he's not great for you. And as as hard as it is, and I understand being one of those friends who can sit there and say she's going to end up staying with him anyway, so I'm just going to let her say whatever she wants to say. I'm not going to give my feedback. I think it's more appreciative. I think we appreciate it more now that we're past that situation and we look back like, no, please be that asshole friend. Please tell
Yeah.
me that I'm an idiot and I'm not smart and that I should be listening, because you possibly telling me those things may possibly save my life, may possibly
Yeah.
get me out of a relationship that I don't need to be in. You know,
Yeah.
people don't realize that, and you said the perfect word. We don't always have discernment when we're making
Right.
those decisions during that time.
You're not really thinking too much.
Right. You're thinking totally wrong because you have so many different things coming at you at once, you know, like, is he really that good guy that I saw? He did
Yeah.
say he was sorry.
Sometimes you have this image of them and it's distorting your reality. It's
Yes,
like, well, I think it'll be okay, or well, it's not that bad. And it's like, no, look at the reality of the situation. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. So
It's
go ahead. I'm sorry. I tend to cut people off because if you know me personally, you know I talk a whole lot.
oh, I'm a
So
talker too.
I gotta apologize in
We'll be on
advance.
here all night like
So we're after the 30 mark. So I like to look at some of the messages because I don't know if you can see them, and I like to also make sure that you can feel the love that you're getting from the audience. And I also want you to feel like see that you're being supported. So Ray, if
Mhm.
you could go through some of those comments just so that Jen can see some of them. The first one is from Teresa Fetzer. We love Teresa. Shout out to Teresa. I'm so sorry. Yes, get it. It's best to have it all documented, as you know. Unfortunately, it's a pain in the ass with the back and forth. However, you really don't have much choice. I heard Christina, that's me, mention that he gets high. I'm wondering if the mental health department can assist in some way. I'll ask. I think that drug use sometimes, you know, there's a lot of different reasons for why people are the way that they are, especially when they're abusers as well. So drugs may, you know, play a huge part in why things are going the way that they are. Ray, let's find another one. Teresa, again, sadly, that is because they need two police officers, and she's responding to you saying they didn't come quick enough.
Mhm.
Sadly, that is because they need two police officers, and two police officers rarely ride in one patrol car. Domestic calls are actually the most dangerous. So sad. And here's the thing, people don't realize how dangerous they are. Some people go into domestic violence calls, unfortunately, even police officers, and get killed in those calls.
Oh
And
my.
as crazy as it is, this tiny little thing, and if you know me in person, you know I'm small, only 5 feet, people. I have literally had a phone call of someone in the middle of the night saying, I'm getting abused, I need to get out. And I drive there, which is not the safest thing to do, but I've like driven there knowing darn well I got a daughter of my own at home and
Mm.
situation of my own. I got in my car and I drove there. And when I got there was a whole slew of police outside. And I pulled in and they were trying to get all of the traffic out of the street because the guy was in threatening her. And I said, I got to get through. I got to get through. I'm trying to get her out. And the female cop came to me and she said, who are you? And I explained to her what I do. I explained to her my position. And she was like, you are crazy. Why would you come here? Like, why would you put yourself in harm's way? And I was like, this is just what I do. Like, she
Yeah.
called me and she needed me. And she's like, you could get killed. Like,
Yeah.
don't do this ever again.
Have you
And they're
done it?
like, I never did it again.
Oh.
I never did it again. What I've done now is lean on my police officer support system, and I've called them like, "Listen, this is what's going down," because in that instant, I kind of was just like kind of mommy mode for my victim, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I gotta go." But
I needed you 6 years ago.
it is a very dangerous situation when police are answering these calls because sometimes their mind is not right, and they don't care who shows up at their front door, whether you hold the badge or not. You know, they could be in harm's way as well. Let's get another one, Ray. Crystal says it's exhausting always having to watch your back. Just walking out of your house. So yes to the PFA. See, everybody's telling you the same thing, girl. Go get that PFA and stop tripping. Soko says PFA, woo, is better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Absolutely. And that is what I am telling you. And I'm telling you in front of a bunch of people watching, go get it. When we stand up for ourselves, we stand up for all women, including our daughters. Absolutely. That's
Mm.
right. That's right. Let's see. What else he got here? He's going through the Marilyn Del Valle. Thank you for sharing your story, Jennifer. I know it's not easy, but sharing your story can help someone who is going through a domestic situation
Yeah,
and can give them hope to get out. Absolutely.
absolutely. And that's the reason why I'm coming on here. Is to let people know that you're worth so much more, you
Mhm.
know. than to sit there and let somebody disturb your peace, take your peace away from you, tell you that you're not shit, that you're nothing without them. It's really sad that so many people go through this, but that's the reason why. Like when I heard about your organization and I started watching the shows and stuff, I'm like, I love what she does, because even though we no longer identify with it anymore, we can still be that voice for somebody who's afraid or who thinks that they can't do it. Like I've had people inbox me that had no idea what I went through and they
Mhm.
were going through similar situations.
Mhm.
And I'm just like I'm here to talk if you want to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think that's extremely important for people to
Mhm.
know. And I'm an open book. I don't
Mhm.
ever mind talking about it. I might cry talking about it, but at least, I can let somebody know, hey, look, I am a living testament, and this is what it is now. And I went through it, but I came out stronger and resilient. And I
Mhm.
love myself so much more that I know I would never go through this again. And you're worth it. Like I want to tell every woman out there that they're worth it.
That's right. See that? See that? People don't realize that coming on here sometimes is probably a bigger step than people imagine. And people
Mhm.
they're like, oh, I don't want to go on. I don't really want people to know, but they don't realize that sometimes just hearing your story helps so much.
Mhm.
Every time I have a show, and I say every time because it's not a lie. Every time I have a show, I have people who either watch it during and inbox me, or have people who watch it after and inbox me and always give me feedback or thank us. And not just me, like thank all of you. Like, thank you for having that person on. They said this, and that, and it helped me with my situation. So I think that it's therapeutic for everyone, to listen and to be here, and it's appreciated. Teresa saying it, I appreciate that. It's appreciated by so many, and I think that people don't realize that sharing our stories where it's something that's scary and it's like, oh my god, intense, it's helping so many people, because there's so many people who are quietly watching, and you'll never know that they're being abused, but it's those same people that'll be like, I'm gonna go get the PFA tomorrow, like I like what they said,
Yeah.
I think this is helpful, I'm gonna do it, I'm just gonna do it, and we don't realize it until we see that. So we have a question from Soko. She has a question for you.
Hmm.
You see it, right? I have a question. When your abuser goes on to the next woman and she does not know that he is an abuser, do you warn her? So has that happened?
Um, it hasn't happened. Um, Honestly, I wouldn't even know how to answer that question because I'm trying to separate myself from
Mhm.
him and his life,
Yeah.
and I don't want anything to do with him. I don't know, Christina, how would you, because that's a tough question. I mean, I don't even want anything to do with him. You know what I'm saying? Let alone meddle in his like relationship. And I don't know because he's in the street.
Hmm.
He's been in the street for 6 years.
I'm gonna answer it too, Soko. Look, I got the candle lighter. I didn't mean to lift it, but I did. I got the candle lighter. I'm not starting a fire. Um, I'm gonna answer it from my perspective. So since my abuse, my physical abuse, since then up until now, it's been about 16, almost 16 years, right? I have also dated very abusive mentally and verbally since then. I can say that not my first abuser, the physical abuse, but after that, only one time have I warned another woman. What I got from that experience was, because they were, and this is how I word it, because they were also being manipulated by this person. All that was given back to me was that I still wanted that person. I was bitter. I was angry. So they didn't believe it. So, being 110% honest with you, I don't think I will ever be at the place where I can try to warn. All I could do my best if they contact me is be as honest as I can. But I have seen that, unfortunately, it has taken for them to see it for themselves. Now, that may sound selfish. It may sound like I don't care because of what it is that I do. It's none of those things. But I have turned blue in the face trying to warn folks, this is a bad seed. This is a bad apple. And I have in turn received verbal abuse from women. I have been called so many names and been disrespected so much that I
Mhm.
am now at a place where I'm like, hopefully they'll watch my show. Hopefully they'll see me because we're all on social media and they'll hear what I have to say and it'll resonate with them. Hopefully, it won't get to that point. I try my best to do my shows and always present myself in public in a certain way that hopefully is helpful for the people who kind of follow after me. But when I have tried, it's been more than once now that I think about it. After I've tried several times to do that, all I've received in turn is just abuse from the other women. And I will say this: two of the women cursed me out, told me that I just wanted him, I was
That.
pathetic, I was a loser, and that I just was stuck on him and bitter. I
Mm.
will say that maybe a few months later, both of those women in two different instances have contacted me. Unfortunately, they didn't go through what I went through, but they went through their own form of mental and verbal, and they contacted me and apologized to me. I will say that. Apologize to me for how they mistreated me, how they disrespected me, how they cursed at me, because they said that now that they've lived through their experiences, they understand and that, I should have listened to you then, type of thing. Now, I'm not saying that I would never give someone that advice, but in my instance, when I did, I was then attacked back and called terrible things. I had to block people because they were cursing me out every day,
Yeah.
writing nasty messages to me, text messaging me from fake cell phones just to send me just this rude or disruptive messages. So I kind of pulled back from warning people and just said, unfortunately, I'll leave it to God. And things happen the way that they happen. And like I said, months later, I've had women write to me and say, listen, I'm sorry. I should have never disrespected you. I now understand, type of thing. So I know that's a lot. But that was my instance. Ray, I see a lot more other messages. If we can find another one to put up there.
I can definitely see women doing that, thinking that you're just bitter.
Yeah. Andrew Rodriguez, love this for you all. All of you women that go through this are stronger than you know. And my cousin speaking is a living, strong example. Keep grinding and stay motivated. Love you, Jen.
Love you too.
Kelsey Shane went through this at such a young age. I think about it now and it makes me sick. Wish I would have realized back then and ran. Thankfully, I ended up moving on and I couldn't be happier of where I am now and who I am with. Glad you're sharing your story, Jen.
Thank you for joining, Kelsey.
Awesome. Christine Lopez, another Survivor Award recipient. Getting out is possible. It's never easy because every situation is different, but it's possible. Life after the abuse is an adjustment because now it's you making your own decisions and not having to. That's important. I like how she said that. You're making the decisions because you are making them, not
Mm-hmm.
because, oh my God, I have to do this to get out. Now it's like I'm making them because I know that that's the choice I need to make.
Mm-hmm.
She also says, live according to the abuser. Now it's you. I guess she's trying to explain that you're not
Yeah,
living according to the abuser.
comment.
Now it's you having full control of your life. Life after the storm, it gets better.
Absolutely.
Absolutely does.
Absolutely.
Teresa says, my personal experience, they won't believe it. I ignored all the signs because I believed I was different. Just mind your business on this one.
Was she responding to the other
She's
ladies?
responding to the other question of telling
Yeah,
someone.
because see, that was a hard question for me to answer because I haven't had to deal with, any other woman in his life because he's been in the street since,
Yeah.
I kicked him out. So I was just like kind of stuck on that. But I can definitely see where you were coming from with that. I can see women like that thinking, about the bitterness and all that. So,
Yeah, it's hard. Tiffany Heiser says one day I will be strong enough to speak in public. Yes, you will, Tiff, and we got your back.
yep.
Um,
And let me just say that this is a big step for me too. Even though we're like literally just having a conversation, you and I
mhm.
on the phone, like I was terrified. Like I can say my nerves for the first show, I was like so nervous, but I was actually more laid back and relaxed this time. Maybe I'm just getting better at speaking on here.
I
I'm
think
always
that too.
terrified of talking.
You know what? It's not an easy thing, and the crazy thing is that people who watch me multiple times often say, "How the hell do you do it?" If you, I'm testing everyone who's on here to go to our YouTube and look at the first few shows. And the first few shows, now 2 years later that we started this, I was terrified, and you can tell.
Hmm.
Super nervous, always stuttering over my words. I was just terrible.
Hmm.
But now it comes to second nature, right? Like I public speak everywhere I go. I talk about it. For me, it's been a healing journey to do this. Being able to be here, and I said this just 2 days ago. I never received therapy for my abuse, any forms of my abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Being here and doing this organization and doing this show has been such a therapeutic thing for me that it gives me the voice that I need. It gives me the drive and it allows me to do this without having any nerves anymore, without being scared. Because being able to sit here and listen to you and see how positive you are and see you to kind of overcome, and not just you, but every person that I have on here has allowed me kind of what I need because through speaking with you and sharing parts of me, I'm kind of getting the therapeutic healing that I need. Like I literally am like, yes, I'm not alone. And like all of those feelings of loneliness that I felt back then and unsupported that I felt back then, I get that. And I said that before on the show that even though I fill a lot of people's cups, you guys and even the audience and people who support do not realize how much you fill my cup. Like
Right.
there are so many times where I am not happy and we've gone 2 3 weeks without having a show in a row and I've cried and I've called Ray and I'm like I just can't and I'm going through it and he'll be like get up and go. Like go be on the show, go do what you have to do. And people don't realize that sometimes I do this show and I've been depressed all day, I've been sad all day. But when I get on here, all of that kind of just like alleviates me because you guys fill my cup, you know?
That's pretty
I
dope.
do it for you, but you guys do it for me. And seriously, I feel so super blessed and super happy when I hear people like yourself who've come from such a dark place speak so positively, right? So I
Yeah.
had said to you at the beginning, the gala is coming up. What are you most looking forward to? What I always look forward to in the gala, and that's why if you see me, I OD on posts about the gala, and I'm constantly like, buy a ticket, buy a ticket. Not because we're trying to push it, right? Because we want money, because the money don't come, I don't see the money. It doesn't come to me at all. I constantly push it because when you sit here and you are in this room filled with like minded people, all here for the same reason, because we all realize that domestic violence is such a terrible thing within our community and in our cities and in the US and everywhere. Being in this room and being in that moment, that is what I am looking forward to.
Yep.
Being in that moment because you have so much love. Teresa said under one of our posts a few weeks ago, when you go to the gala, it's like you feel hope and love in the room. Like you just feel it. Because
Everybody's
even if,
happy. Everybody's beautiful. Everybody looked great. The last one that I went to.
and the thing is that even if you've never been a victim of any form of abuse, you're going there because something about it makes you feel like I want to go and support this. So everybody's like feeling is so positive. Like everybody is just like, yes, I support you. And to look back and think of my past and think of how the domestic violence was never spoken about, people never brought it up. People didn't have random conversations like I do at a bar about domestic violence. I sit and I have margaritas and we're talking about domestic violence. Instead of normalizing the abuse, we've normalized the culture of let's cancel DV, let's cancel domestic
Right.
violence. So when we get on here and when we go to our events, that's exactly what we're doing. So that's what I'm looking forward to, watching you get up there and get your award and shine so that people know that you went through the worst, but you are overcoming it and you're going to be at your
Yep.
best.
Yep.
Chrissy has an amazing committee that supports, absolutely, motivates and pushes her because we believe in her and the org.
Yep.
Listen, special shout out to my committee, right? Because every year I try to do this on my own. I try to run this on my own and not do anything. And this year I decided we need a committee because the amount of tears that I cry trying to put this together because I want it to be an amazing event is so difficult. This year I put together such a phenomenal committee and we're going to shout them out. Ray Velez for being my number one. Lynette Perez Pizarro because she is one of my sidekicks. My roadies, Damara Rivera, Jennifer Gomez Hardy, you people, Eugene Martinez, like you people are what make me thrive through this. And that's what you need, whether it's with this gala or in general. All of us need a circle of warriors behind us.
Yep.
When you are going through instances like this, you need warriors behind you who are going to tell you about yourself, even when you don't want to hear it. I have me and Amanda Peguero, right? Our therapist who comes on and she
Oh,
talks sometimes.
I
She puts me in my place. We
yeah.
need an Evelyn Ramos, Michael Mai, who puts me in my place. We need a 15-year-old daughter who tells me, Mom, you're tripping, right? Because those are the people who are going to get you out of your worst spots. So, my people, if you're listening and you're going through this, you need yourself. That's right. You need yourself the diamonds who are going to be there to uplift you in those terrible moments. And
Mm-hmm.
when they're telling you that he's not shit or she's not shit or there's red flags, listen to them. It is not because they don't love you. It is not because they don't appreciate what you do, but it is because those people are the people who are watching from the outside and care about you the most. So I hope that you have those people, Jen, who are consistently uplifting you. And I think I see a lot of them on that feed tonight.
Oh, I love you guys so much. My heart is so full tonight. Thank you for coming on here.
Fish says, Jen, I'm so proud of you. Since high school, you have been a strong individual and that you continue to push forward. I know what you went through, but not to the extent. But love and happy that you're what? But
Oh,
love and happy that you're happy. Love you, boo.
love you. Yeah,
Next.
I can't stress that enough. Like the importance of having those positive people behind you, pushing you, telling you, yo, like stop, like enough, like you're gonna be okay. You know how many times my sister told me that, my cousin, and I would doubt it. And as soon as I broke up with him, I got a raise from my job. Like a lot of good things were
Yeah.
happening for me. I had lost about 73 pounds, and I put so much, all the love that he drained from me, I poured back into myself. And
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for people behind me telling me, like, yo, you got this, you're
Mm-hmm.
strong, like, do it for your kids, like, I probably would have still been in the same situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm so grateful for those people and they know who they are. And my kids, I do it for my kids too. You know what I'm saying? They're everything to me, and I don't ever want to put them through that situation again of having to see somebody treat me that way, because it's not okay. And it's not, I don't want them growing up thinking, I don't want my daughters thinking it's okay to be treated like that. And I don't want my
Absolutely.
son thinking it's okay to hit women in that way, you know?
That's right. And your kids are watching you and
Mm.
they see your resilience and they see how positive an example that you're setting for them. So I'm happy for that. But what are you going to do for me today? What are you going to remind yourself to do tomorrow?
Oh,
Because
the PFA.
that's your homework. Everybody watching, we're going to find out if she did it or not. That's her homework. That's her homework. That's her homework. We got a few more comments. We're going to read them. And when we're done reading them, we're going to go into our closing, which our final thought. I'm going to leave you on the screen by yourself and I'm going to go to the back. And then I'll come back and give you some updates about what's to come because we're super excited. 2 weeks away. Let's get through the last few comments here so that we can shut this down and give Jennifer her moment. Tiffany Heisler says, is it normal to miss that person but the good times?
I would say yes,
Mm-hmm.
because there were good times, but I feel like the manipulation and the abuse just overshadowed that a bit much. So yes, you miss having a family,
Mm-hmm.
and you do miss the good times. You're human. This is what
Mm-hmm.
we crave. We crave that love and affection and the good
Mm-hmm.
times and the memories. But
Mm-hmm.
you got to ask yourself in the end, is it worth it though?
Yeah.
Are those little bit of good times worth all the abuse and the shame that they put you through?
Yeah. So, Tiffany, my response to you is this. I was on the phone the other evening. Someone called me and they said they wanted to have a conversation. And they're going through a really tough time right now, too. And they called me for reassurance. They called me for reassurance that they were not crazy because of that same question. They asked me for reassurance after they told me the abuse that they're going through. And they asked me, am I normal for missing him? Is it normal for me to feel like, but I still want him in my life, even though I'm going through this abuse? And my response to her is absolutely. You're not crazy. Not at all. Not any percentage of this is craziness. You are going to miss them. Because remember that whenever you start to meet someone, especially when you're dating, even if it's not an abusive relationship in general, when you start dating someone, you do not meet who they really are just yet. And
Mhm.
that goes for us too. For us too, as women. When we go out on dates, we are presenting the representative, right? So we're going to go to dinner and we're not going to eat our meal sloppy like we normally do. We're going to like
not,
make sure we stay
not
pretty.
me.
You know, all right, maybe just me. We're not gonna fart, right? We're trying to like show like this cute person. So I'm making a joke at it, but the reality is that when you're dating or when you're starting to meet someone, even if it's not in an abusive relationship, everyone meets the representative at the beginning, and the representative is always positive. The representative is going to bring you flowers. The representative is going to tell you you're beautiful and that they're dating you because they only want to deal with you and that you're amazing. And when that changes and that representative starts to kind of like step back and the real person comes out, your brain is going back to that representative. So even though they're hitting you or they're abusing you or they're making you feel terrible, your mind is still going to go back to they are being this terrible person right now, But Dad, remember when he used to bring me flowers all the time? Remember when he used to tell me that I was pretty and that I was all that he wanted? That's what you're going to remember because that's who you're seeking to come back.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Tiffany, oftentimes that person never comes back because a representative is not the real person. You are going through the normal cycle of abuse because their beginning is kind of like mentally kind of making you believe that they're amazing, buying you in. It's like selling the product. They're selling you the product that they're just this amazing glass of wine and it'll never get you hungover. You can have 20 of them and never be hungover. But the reality is you can get drunk off of wine, right? And that's what it is. You're missing him, Tiffany, and you're missing that relationship because you feel like that's who can still be in that person. What I want you to do is not make yourself feel like you're terrible. Don't beat yourself up. Don't say that you're crazy because you're missing this person. What I want you to do is accept that this is a normal feeling, but still disassociate yourself. There's a line that says, I can love you, but I can love you from afar. You can love someone, but you don't got to be with them because sometimes people's love language is abuse and that's not the love language that you need. You need genuine love language. You don't need to see someone's hands to feel love. You don't need someone to abuse you to feel love. What you need is for someone to genuinely love you. So listen, take all the time that you need to remove yourself from missing them. You're normal. That's normal. Take
Mhm.
all the time that you need, but also put yourself first. I see your praying hand. Keep praying to God. This is not a religious show. I say that all the time. I do not know people's denominations, but if you are someone who believes in a higher power, whether it's God or whatever it is, pray to that person or sit yourself in yoga or meditation, whatever it is you need to get yourself to that point where you're going to feel out of that instance. Take yourself out of your comfort zone. Go somewhere you don't normally go. Talk to someone you don't normally talk to, but get yourself out of there and don't beat yourself up. You can miss them. That is a part of what happens when you go through this cycle of abuse. But you have to also put yourself first. And I know that you got babies. Put your babies first. Think of what your babies need best. I know that that old person that you thought loved you, they're not coming back. That vision is not coming back. And your babies need the best of you. And they need whoever's with you to love the best of you and love the best of them as well. So take heed into that. I'm going to stop on that note. We are 58 minutes in, which means we are almost done. I'm going to the back and I'm going to let Jen have her final thought.
Okay. I just want to say to everybody out there that's watching, first of all, thank you for tuning in and supporting Chrissy's organization, supporting Love Shouldn't Hurt, supporting me. If you came to watch me, thank you so much. I just want to say that always put yourself first. Always pour into yourself love, know your worth, know that you're loved, you are worthy of love, you are worthy of respect, you are worthy of kindness, everything good in abundance, you are worthy of all of that. So just remember those things. If you're going through a situation, know that you everything is temporary and you can overcome whatever it is that you're going through if you put yourself first and you make that decision to move on from this. And you can do it. I believe in you. If you're still in that situation, I believe that you can do it. And if you haven't bought a ticket to the gala, what are you waiting for? Buy a ticket and hope to see everybody there at the gala. And Chrissy, I will see you at the gala.
You sure will. And I'm going to be so pretty.
We're gonna be dancing.
You're so funny. All right, we're going to
I
send you
can't
to the
wait
back.
to dance bachata with Ray.
See, everybody got like something forward to. You got to come to the gala. We're going to send you to the back, and I'm going to give my closing thought and some announcements. Thank you, people, for always being here. I appreciate all of you so much. You have no idea. Just seeing you in the comment boxes and just lifting her cup and making her feel loved makes me feel loved. He's doing that on purpose, people. He's trying to get me to shut up. I'm not gonna. Thank you guys for tuning in, for being here with us, for supporting us. Listen, just like Jennifer said, if you have not bought your ticket, you may not be able to have some in a few days. So go to Eventbrite, visit the link, and get your tickets because we only have 20 tickets left to our third annual Love Gala. It is an amazing evening with so many amazing things. Head over to my social media. You can see some of the different people that are going to be honored. You can see raffles we're going to be giving off. We are going to have an amazing, phenomenal evening, all for the same cause of one, the biggest reason, fundraising for our victims. I think it's important for all of you to know that our Love Gala is not just something we do just to do. We do this on purpose. Everything we do is purposeful. All of the funds that are raised during our Love Gala, during our 5K, during our showings, during our fundraisers, go directly towards our victims, folks. I do not see any of that money. It does not touch my pockets. And it is in honor of Linda Jeannie Rios. We will be supporting her. We will be supporting her family, who we are excited are sharing the evening with us for the very first time at our Love Gala. Our money goes directly to all of the efforts for our victims, whether it's housing, whether it's relocation, whether it's to help pay their bills, whether it's to put clothes on their kids' back, food, whatever the need is, we're there to service them. So remember, the money does not touch my hands. It goes directly to the organization by our finance office. And whenever we need to support or help one of our victims, we do so. So join us in 2 weeks and 2 days at our third annual Love Gala. Tickets are on Eventbrite. Just search third annual Love Gala, and it will come up. Let's go. 20 tickets left. We're super excited. We will be here next week with Tiffany Cardona. She is a phenomenal Latina who went through her own very crazy story of abuse, narcissistic abuse, verbal, mental abuse. And she's going to share her story with us. She has now overcome all of that. She is a powerful entrepreneur who is running a very, very good business that is also good for your health. So we're going to talk about all of that next Tuesday. Join us, because guess what? Tomorrow, March 1st, begins Women's History Month. So we will be highlighting amazing, amazing women this month. So pay attention to our social media as we highlight one amazing woman each day who are doing phenomenal things in Philadelphia. Thank you all for being here. We're going to bring Jennifer back to say goodbye. We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye. Jenny, thank you for being with us, love.
Thank you for having me.
Can't wait to see you in your pretty dress. I'll be the pretty one in the front with all the bling. Get your tickets, nice, people. That's
I'll
right.
be nice and shimmery.
We're all going to be nice and shimmery.
Let's go. I can't wait.
Thank you. Have a good night, all. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a good night.